let me make the business case for privacy. And I often talk to companies, and I include this reference, although it is equally applicable to government operations, which should operate effectively, efficiently, and highly respectful of privacy. Privacy is good for business. And when I say this to businesses, they go, huh? You're kidding. And believe me, I said this when I was commissioner, repeatedly. I said, think of privacy as a business issue, not just a compliance issue. Because if you do that, you will get a better return. If you do it because it will enhance the operations of your department, you're going to do a better job at it because you win, your clients win, your customers, citizens, everybody wins. And so you'll be much more likely to do a good job than just fear of reprisal after the fact if you get a complaint about some aspect of your operations. From a financial perspective, I'll never forget, we were doing papers on the smart grid and smart meters a number of years ago. And in Ontario, Ontario passed a law that all houses have to have smart meters on them. It was legislated, so it was not a matter of choice. So I remember Premier at the time was Dalton McGuinty, and I went up to him and I said, well, Premier, obviously you have the authority to pass laws that you wish to pass. I just want to make sure that it's completely privacy protected because, of course, the information from a smart meter flows wirelessly and can be intercepted and picked up by others and used for other purposes. And he said, Commissioner, whatever you want to do, I'm there, because I totally agree. We want this to be fully compliant. So we developed a series of papers. We worked with Ontario Hydro and Toronto Hydro, all the major agencies, to show that you could do privacy and smart meters in terms of encrypting the wireless data flows and ensuring that there were a number of protective measures that could lock down the use of the actual data for only the purposes intended. Remember, purpose specification and use limitation in terms of their information practices. So we wrote a number of papers, and I got a call from San Diego Gas and Electric, and they said, we'd really like you to present this idea to our board because we're having a lot of problems here in California. Now in California, smart meters weren't legislated, but a lot of the companies were adding them to houses for the efficiencies that they introduced. But there was so much reaction against them in California. People objected vehemently. By leaps and bounds. He described this one area, this one neighborhood, where the trucks were about to enter to put the smart meters on the houses, and they were blocked. People brought their cars to block the entranceway so that the trucks couldn't get into their neighborhood. I mean, that's how strong the opposition was. So I went down and I presented to San Diego Gas and Electric. By the end of the talk, they were very pleased, and they got it. One, I think the CEO, the senior executive, and he stood up and he said, okay, young lady, at least he called me young lady. Okay, young lady, I buy this. I accept that this will work. Now, tell me what it's going to cost. Just like that. And I said, sir, with great respect, you're asking the wrong question. You should be asking, tell me what it's going to save me. Because I can assure you, this is going to save you enormously. If you have a data breach, and I assure you, you will, it will not only cost you in terms of lawsuits, there are class action lawsuits now. This costs companies a fortune. But even worse than that is the damage to your brand and the damage to your reputation that can result. The loss of consumer confidence and trust can be irreparable. That is the significant cost here. And after that, they signed up and they did privacy by design in their system, and they haven't had any complaints. It's been working beautifully. But the reputational harm that can arise from this is so dramatic. And I think that's what people have to remember before they pay this. I love this quote. I don't even know where it's from. It's been around for years. Trust takes years to build, seconds to destroy, and forever to repair. It's so true. Think of Target. Maybe Target with Target. on as an example, but there are so many companies I can talk about in terms of data breaches. And these days, distrust is at an all-time high. Ever since Edward Snowden's revelations about 3 years ago, his revelations were so dramatic. Everyone suspected that the NSA, the CSC in Canada, and others around the world, the Five Eyes, probably had some access to people's information. Nobody had any idea of the extent of the surveillance taking place and access to metadata. No one. And this just came out last week. I think last week was the 3-year anniversary of this. Edward Snowden, it was just revealed, had gone to the NSA to tell them, without whistleblowing, to tell them about these problems and how completely unacceptable he thought the public would find it, and that he wanted to share that with them. He didn't want to go public about it. They just, dismissed him completely. And he said that he was then forced to reveal all that he did. You might be familiar with the PRISM program. He revealed the extent of the surveillance, the metadata. Recently, I think in the last week, there has been a lot of information about, was it CSIS or the CSC? They're both problematic. I think it was CSIS this time, that there was so much metadata that had been accessed on Canadians that was contrary to what CSIS was permitted to do. And not only did they access all this information on Canadians, which they were not supposed to do, they then, when it was revealed that they had done this contrary to the law, they said they would delete that information. And it was later learned that they hadn't deleted the information. And it just goes on. And this was all started with Edward Snowden's revelations. So for the past 3 years, what we have found is that this has led to such concern about surveillance by both governments and businesses. And I should tell you, I've been in this business over 25 years. I have never seen figures in the 90 percentile, that 91% of adults agree that consumers have lost control over their personal information. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, I describe privacy as essentially being all about control, personal control over the uses of your data. And people just feel that it's fleeting. 80% of people use social networks like Facebook are concerned about third parties accessing their data. And 80% of adults agree that Americans should be concerned about government surveillance. When we talk about social media, people accessing social media, it's now, I think, become the norm that when you apply for a job, they want to access your social media page. They want to go to your Facebook. You want to check it out. And for good reason. I mean, the things that people put on there, please don't tell your children to do that. I mean, or at least block it. Block it so only 3 people have access to it. And actually, this is incidental, but you might think that, well, kids don't care about privacy anymore. I don't know how many times I've heard that. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Go to Dana Boyd. She's at New York University. She has done a lot of research on kids aged 12 to 24. And she has shown definitively that kids care very much about their privacy, but it may not look like it to parents or grown-ups because they don't have the same interests. They don't have economic interests yet. They don't have financial concerns. They care about what their parents see, about what they're doing. Think back. Wasn't that long ago? And man, are they good at protecting that data. They know exactly what to do. I often go in and talk to kids in high schools and junior highs, and I never expect them to take my word for it. I start with 3 stories that I get from the media about some awful thing that has happened to a kid because of information they put on social media, which allow a stranger to find out where they live and come to their home physically and do all they could. There's all kinds of stories. I put the stories up and their jaws drop because they believe it because it's the golden male, the trying to start or whatever. And then I say, okay, now that you've seen this, what would you do to prevent this from happening? The hands go flying up. They know exactly what to do, but they have to be alerted to the concern first. first because it's not top of mind. We encrypt the data, we would code it, we would use another server. I mean, they are so tech savvy. They've been largely born digital. And so they know what to do, and they do care. Anyway, I digress, sorry. Okay, Pew Research. Only 5%, it's so interesting, have heard nothing about government surveillance. So you can assume that a huge part of the population knows all about this, and little confidence of the security associated with common communications channels. 81% feel not very or not at all secure using social media, and that's probably a good thing. The other thing that I found interesting was this mismatch between behavior and attitudes. 6 out of 10 adults say they would likely do more to protect their privacy. And honestly, they don't know what to do about it. 55% are willing to share some information or to be able to use a service or a feed. But again, remember, context is important. I keep returning to that. Users will change their levels of disclosure based on the context. And